probably follow the 2002 pattern, where it's basically a 2-year market sell off, and it's just gonna just grind people into oblivion. And so big money is gonna force small money to panic because they don't want to pay premium for this stuff. Bitcoin is a reflection of the failure of fiat. And the ironic thing about it, Dave, is that Bitcoin is not going to be worth any more than it is today, except that everything else is going to be worth so much less.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Bob Kudla, trade genius. Oh, the world has spun. We're coming to the end of the year. What's going to 2025? What does that have in store for us? Destruction and rebirth seems like on a lot of people's tongues, but a lot of opportunity. Remember that Chinese proverb, opportunity and danger, the two characters Wei Ji. One of those is opportunity, even though it is dangerous. So how do we move through 2025? Today, we want to talk about the infinity play. People are rolling on Bitcoin, the energy rollover, and the tech top, maybe one more bump, and we're down. Plus XRP with the real USD going into enterprise customer payments next year. So the world, as you know, in terms of fiat currencies, is truly we're in a changing world here. So Bob's here to discuss it with us. I'm so happy and grateful he's here with me. So enjoy the conversation. Take what you will for you to improve your life and share with others. Thanks for joining, Bob.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Hey, look, we're gonna do rapid round here. We got like 30 minutes. First thing I'll start off with the advertisement. Hey, come check out our site. Check out the landing page that Dave has.
Tradewith2030.com.
Last month, you guys enthusiastically embraced what we're doing here, and we think this is 2025 is going to be a year to remember. Life-changing money is going to be made, and we think we have a pretty good handle on this. Some really interesting thing. Now that Trump's in office, well, he's been elected in office in January, some things are getting clearer for us. At the same time, we are slipping into a global recession. United States won't avoid it. It won't be as bad as the rest of the world, but some of the policies that Trump's going to do is going to cause some short-term pain for the stock market. And so I want to blast through it. Look, pharma and biotech are gonna struggle. Energy is going to struggle. Big tech's going to struggle. Defense contractors are going to struggle. Okay. Now, what's going to probably still be moving, is that you're going to probably get a lift in the bond market because there'll be less spending involved here. And I think there's still going to be, a short-term move yet in Bitcoin between now and the inauguration. A lot of people think Bitcoin is going to run until September. We think that the halving cycle is going to be actually truncated this year based on the recession. So it's going to cause a lot of volatility in the market. So, you want to be long, want to be long volatility. You want to be long the long bonds. And you're going to want to be long some of these short ETFs, in which we'll be positioning for people. But we're talking mid-December now. Between mid-December and mid-January, there's going to be probably a pretty good pop here, Santa rally, and then they call what's called the first of the year rally. And then, front running the inauguration. And then after that, I think we're going to slip back. But Dave and I will be talking before that inauguration again in January. So, and then Bitcoin is making new highs. So it keeps trying to push up. We're looking at 111, and then we're looking at 121, Dave. And then from there, do we get an irrational spike in Bitcoin, or does that kind of top the season? So that's kind of my monologue in a quick nutshell, but plenty of opportunities, and the volatility is going to be our friend if you're a trader.
Yes, let me pick up on that. So I want to go into the psychology of it, because the psychology moves markets here. So Trump comes in inauguration day. So what's the psychology behind markets tanking off or declining after that? Is it just fear of like new policies, or is it fear of like too much restructuring of the economy and different divisions and offices within the government? I mean, what do you think is the psychology of the change of this versus the regular halving cycle running through? Like, what's going to terrify people to change their normal behavior patterns over the last, say, 12 years of Bitcoin halving cycles?
Bitcoin actually follows the global money supply,
Hmm.
offset by 3 months. And so the global money supply has been collapsing. And the United
It
States is the
has.
biggest generator of money supply. You're talking about the Doji project, right? You're talking about Trump trying to kill inflation. Well, all those things, you need to reduce the money supply in order for those things to happen. That will affect Bitcoin. Unless Bitcoin decides that this cycle is a cycle that they're going to change and become the ultimate store of hard currency, which we think is the next cycle, not this cycle, then I think you're going to see, Bitcoin make a new high, and then it's going to pull back sharply, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, and also going into the defense industry getting smashed. I was just looking at some Chinese news the last couple of days. They have ceased any antimony exports to the United States, and I think it went up to $34,000 a ton on a spike as well. So, cut off
Yeah.
rare earth oxide class, but now we're actually seeing spike prices here. That's going to affect the entire global supply chain, but not a small. It was a vertical Loch Ness monster spike on these rare earth minerals here. So, if there's less of that, defense industry gets hurt, but how much of that is our economy in the US defense and sort of automotive and tech, higher tech?
Yeah, antimony is easily recyclable, and Canada just opened up a big, huge antimony mine. And people don't realize that antimony is mostly used in fire retardant, not in defense products.
Ah,
So, if the government really gets worried, they could just basically say, "Hey, you find another fire retardant, we're going to take antimony for us." The other metals that they stopped are a little bit more problematic, but all those things are recyclable. And so I think you're going to see some of that come into the forefront. China is in a world of hurt too, and I don't know, they're in what's called a debt trap right now. The more debt they produce, the deeper the hole they're digging. So China is the first major economy that's likely to fail, which was not on my bingo card in 2024. I thought it might have been maybe one of the European countries first, but China's in a world of hurt right now, and you're pretty close to that because of your connections and relationships. But the unemployment rate there is spiking. Trump is going to put a dagger into their heart with these tariffs, and the trade balance changes, and that's going to. I don't know if China can produce enough yuan out into the world to change things, but that's just going to make the dollar stronger, and it's going to then basically cause more deflation around the world. So we're going to go from being worried about inflation to being worried about deflation, which is going to help gold, actually, ironically. So gold and silver miners are probably going to do pretty well in this environment. Uranium is pretty volatile, but uranium is going to continue to move higher. Remember, as countries can't manage their balance of payments, they're going to have to produce energy locally. The only way they're going to do that for most countries is to have nuke plants. And so I think you're going to still see uranium continue to move higher, Dave.
yeah, because data center shortages, seeing what the shortages are, shortfalls is tremendous. And like physical gold itself, and not to be on the Anunnaki and the on the bingo trump card, fake alien invasion for 2024, but gold itself, I mean, physical metals versus miners, it's a little bit different. So tell me, I'm curious myself about the physical, because if you don't hold it, you don't own it, as they say. So, what do you think physical metals compared to miners during this environment as well?
Well, in these environments, the miners actually outperform the metal because of the
Really? Okay.
leverage. Because of the leverage. No, I understand. Look, that what you just described is more of a philosophical issue. People fall on both sides of it. Since I'm a trader, and since Trump's in office and not Biden, I'm less worried about it being confiscated, or nationalized. So I think the miners are going to be a better, more leveraged play. And I feel the same way about Bitcoin too. I like the leverage Bitcoin plays over Bitcoin itself on this cycle. So I'm a holder of Wolf and CleanSpark and Hut. I own MicroStrategy, I own Ybit, I own Bido, and I'll make those determinations, and Misty and Coney, the high yield products. So I'll make the determination whether or not and how much I'm going to shift or reduce going into what I consider the end of the cycle. I'm with my partner Phil on this. I think the inauguration date will probably be a high watermark. Now that we broke 104K, which we were worried about, we would have been a high watermark would have been the winter solstice here. But now that it broke 104K, and if it holds over that, then I think we're going to 111, 121 area before the inauguration period, and then we'll wait and see whether or not we get an irrational move higher to kind of end the move, or if we just wimp out at that point. But the Bitcoin miners and the Bitcoin proxies have been performing reasonably well. When Michael Saylor takes the gas off diluting his shares, I think you'll see a big pump higher in MicroStrategy. So, and then that would drive like Mystics up and Misty up too. I think those plays are all still good.
Yeah, but you hit the nail on the head too, because about 2 months ago, you were saying, Michael Saylor with this new business strategy of offering bond issuance to then raise capital to then buy more Bitcoin. So then, and then the Bitcoin price goes up, then they can offer more long-term bonds or so. That he has like a whole portfolio of different high risk, low risk, and zero risk for any kind of asset managers out there. But you were saying, yeah, watch it. All these other companies are going to start following it. But I was so surprised. Mara started doing it, and Riot also started doing it, actually buying physical Bitcoin in addition to mining it. And I was like, oh, you'd already like smoked on that one earlier.
Yeah, I mean, look at Google. I mean, Google, they had a board meeting, or Microsoft, one of the two had a board meeting. They decided not to pursue it, but somebody pointed out to Google that if you would have just did 10% of your portfolio that you have in cash into Bitcoin, which would have been a nothing burger for you, your company would have been worth, double-digit percentages higher in valuation, just because Bitcoin's continuous outperformance of every other asset class. And so that's not lost on people. Also Square owns Bitcoin, and Trump basically said, hey, look, we're going to do a Bitcoin standard depository too, where they want to buy X amount of million of Bitcoin. So, and then you have El Salvador, and there's another country, Poland's considering it, but there's another country that escapes me for the moment, is also going to create a Bitcoin depository as well. And in Japan, the first Japanese company created a strategic reserve for Bitcoin. So I think what's happening is, once there's an understanding that all currencies around the world have reached the crescendo, or the point of no return, in terms of being able to have a currency that's worth anything, then I think you'll see everybody and their brother going to be diving for this currency, because it's the most liquid, currency that you can have that's not tied to any one country, and it's finite. It can't be produced by a Federal Reserve or by a national treasury. So it's going to be really interesting to see, and I think it's going to be a sight to behold. And so, you probably have to weather one more downstroke on this. And if you can weather through that, then I think the next cycle is going to probably be breathtaking. And the ironic thing about it, Dave, is that Bitcoin is not going to be worth any more than it is today, except that everything else is going to be worth so much less. If you understand the perverse logic of that, Bitcoin just simply is, like gold is, and everything else is becoming less valuable. And I think that's why you have to have, gold miners, silver miners, Bitcoin proxies, hold physical, if you like that. And then I think you're going to be in a position to keep your family relatively financially safe. And I don't think there's any accident that BlackRock has engaged in this. And my personal view is, I think Satoshi was an American construct to provide a hedge and a protection covering the flank for the dollar. and I think we own the Satoshi coins, and I think we're behind all of it, and I think phase two is about to begin.
Yeah, so can I hit you on the reverse logic then? So saying that Bitcoin is going to come up maybe 120 around inauguration and then it's going to slide back down. But if all these nations are continuing to accrue it, then and I'm sure others were thinking too, like how would it go down if US is going to buy 1 million and that'll spur the catalyst for almost every other country and all these other businesses following the MicroStrategy, uh, like a game book, gameplay here on, keeping corporate values at a certain level or increasing just, organically with that holdings. So how does that
It's
work then?
time.
In my mind, I'm kind of I understand it could come up to a point, but then for me, I thought it might roll down, but then it would just keep going up and up. Well, maybe all these other alts kind of trip down, but how does that work through as all these countries are buying and continuing buy? And you think the price is going to
Yeah,
go back down again at some point here?
yeah, timing. It's just timing,
Timing, yeah.
and how much of a downstroke can you stomach? You know, uh, Bitcoin can fall 30 or 40% and still be in a nice uptrend, right? And so big money is going to force small money to panic because they don't want to pay premium for this stuff. So they could force a Bitcoin sale, just like gold was going down while China and everybody else was accumulating it. And at some point, it just overwhelmed the people trying to suppress it. And the same thing will be with Bitcoin. Bitcoin will downstroke in an environment. Some people will have to sell their Bitcoin because, and because the float's so low, trading is that you're going to get a down push in price, and those are the dips that you'll need to be buying. But people that own it up here at 120, do you think they're going to be happy owning it at 80,000? A year from now? Absolutely not. Where 80,000 was above last year's high, right? And so that's what happens with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's volatile, and then once that price goes down and we have deflation, governments around the world are going to, and that panic caused them to create liquidity, and then Bitcoin's going to go through the roof.
Yeah, the liquidity bandits, be careful of them. The liquidity pirates out there, they slam you down on your stops and make sure you exit out to get their buy. So wait, then that means tech companies are going to be highly affected as well. So this whole thing is not just a single ecosystem. We're talking about the entire octopus, all 8 tentacles getting slammed and the head of the octopus getting crushed here. So tech being, I could say, the center of that. That's driving everything from the data centers to the cryptocurrency platforms and all of this AI technologies and things running on blockchain hashgraph, and it just continues to go in all the sectors that are ingrained in all of that too. It goes several layers deep. So tech top, and then what happens to everything else off the periphery then?
Well, look, everything goes down, right? In a recession, you can expect between a 30 and a 50%, you know, uh, peak to trough in stock prices. That just happened. We have not had one of those in since 2008. We had a couple micro ones, right? You know, 2018, 2021 with the COVID thing, quick flash crash in 2011, but no recessionary cleanse. And so these companies are just mind-bogglingly overvalued, and they need to come back into where they could justify it from a cash flow standpoint. And that's what's going to cause those prices to go down. And look, people will get scared and they'll start buying the bond market and selling their stocks. And you get that seesaw. That's why long bonds will be interesting. Every recession, the long bond goes up 30 to 40% in value, while the stock market goes down 30, 40% in value. And so you have a place to hide.
That would be, and
That's
Bob, if I can cut you off here, trade with 2030 if you're looking for information and insights into that, how to trade it, how to be poised in position for these trades. Tradewith2030.com. Bob will get you set up there with trading rooms and the speed of that. We've seen, do you think the speed, okay, the world's moving much, 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 much faster. Do you think the speed of the in and out bottom trough up again is going to be faster than previous cycles just because everything's moving so much faster, like a chipmunk on a hamster wheel,
yeah.
or is it going to be the same kind of, length of trend of the old world versus, because we're absolutely in a new world now. If you can't see it, I'm sorry, everybody. Can't see that by now. You definitely need to take your blinding goggles off because we have moved ED into the new world. So this new world, I'm wondering if the economics are going to speed in and out faster too to get everybody that chance to accrue their BTC.
My view is that we're going to probably follow the 2002 pattern, where it's basically a 2-year market sell off, and it's just gonna just grind people into oblivion. Other people think it's a 1929, 1930 crash kind of environment. So you got to be open to both, but I think it's more going to be my view versus the other view, because I think we're getting a rotation versus a generalized market crash. But we'll see. Nice thing about what I do, I could be wrong verbally, but I'll follow the trades on the algorithm, and avoid the mess of trying to be right, if you will. If the market's telling me that the sell-off is going to be more aggressive, then I'll follow that pattern. But I'm definitely hedging, so I'm already shifting that way. I'll take my trades here and there. Like, I'm short Nvidia, but in terms of buying dips, which is an inverse high yield ETF. But I just this morning bought NVDL, which is Nvidia leveraged long position, based on my algorithm telling us that we were oversold. And same with ExxonMobil, we hit oversold levels that are reversible. I'm getting reversal signals from our algorithm, so I'll ride those trades up for a week or 2 or 3, but still maintain my short positions for the macro view, and that's kind of how we're doing. And that MVDL trade I put out to our room, so I keep our clients informed.
Yeah, so let me ask you, because you come out with a new algorithm, so percentage-wise versus the older algorithm, which was still stunning and spectacular anyway on the win rate on that and following the markets. So what is percentage-wise better on in terms of win-loss rate, would you say? Because you've had a whole month or so to continue to test that since we spoke last time. So as it smooths
Yeah,
out in the averages, what are you looking at?
it's out almost 60 days now. Yeah, we've been averaging usually around 63%, 64% win rate, and the win rate for the previous these most frequently 50 trades are in the high 70s. The only problem with me bragging about that is the market has been generally up, but we think we probably got a 5% increase in our win rate based on that. So we think we got a permanent alpha to our old algorithm, and so we're pretty excited about it. It definitely keeps you out of dumb trades, and it definitely keeps you from trading against the trend when you shouldn't trade against the trend. So it forces you, and you'll see it, Dave. We'll get this to you. In fact, if you want to give me a minute, I could flash my screen.
Yeah, absolutely,
I
because
can literally show you, how it works. This is one of our algorithms. This is showing you levels of intensity of being oversold or overbought. And this is our second algorithm. And basically what happens here is that we had our algorithm. This is a 4-hour chart. My preferred. This is a 2x long Nvidia. It pushed down and broke below this standard deviation. Okay, which is basically telling us when you hit this standard deviation, there's a 91% chance you're going to get a lift back towards the center. Okay, so and then we're at -4 here on our super histogram, which basically will tell us that a reversal is likely as well. So I got 2 confirmation algorithms. So at 6140 this morning, I put out a note for people to buy 6140, buy, stop 59, target 70. That's how I do it. So we're already making money off this trade, and I put this trade on 3 minutes before I got on the call with you, Dave.
yeah, because we started at 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. your time in California, 11 a.m. right here in East Coast time in Tennessee.
Yep.
Yeah, and the liquidity band, that for me, that's a liquidity bandit drawdown right there. When you get those candles that are coming down, you're getting those wicks that are dropping precipitously, like today's total market cap on the crypto on a 1-hour chart.
Now Bitcoin's pushing up, hit the top of its channel on the 4-hour, but look at this move it's made from the bottom of the channel here at 96,000. Okay, it's run up $10,000 in a week. Okay, and so now it's telling us it's probably going to consolidate here a little bit. But if you pull out further on this, it was definitely painting a reversal picture too. And so when you're in a true bull market, you see this histogram that's green like this, it's telling you stay long. And if the trend line goes red, it's telling you to buy the dip. So, we have training classes for this. This is just a tremendous tool that you can use, and you get access to this. If you join the VIP room, you get all our algorithms. If you just join the regular room, you just get the top algorithm. Just when you get the bottom algorithm too. And if you let's go back to the I think this one here. So this is a beautiful move. Now, if you look at ExxonMobil, it was the same thing. And I have a large family position in ExxonMobil, and it's also now painting a potential reversal area here too. Okay. And so you see where it goes white here. These are reversal warnings that say, hey, if you're short this thing, don't continue to short it. Traders are already starting to position for a long here. And so now you're in a situation where anything below here is looking for a fast reversal, just like we had with NVDL. And so that's the other thing that we lose for our algorithm too. So it works out really well. It doesn't matter what you pick. You can just trade it. You can just pick whatever stock you want, and you can see whether or not something's still overvalued or not, depending on what time frame you like to trade. All this stuff is time frame independent, right? If you're trading on the 1 minute, you're looking for reversals on the 1 minute, right? If you're trading on the 4 hour, you look for reversals on the 4 hour. And look, at last time it did this, look what happened with the white here. It called the bottom on ExxonMobil, which is a mega cap, at 114. Okay, and it ran all the way up to 123. You would have got back out at 119. You would have made 5% in 2 weeks on a mega cap. I mean, come on.
That's a big move on a mega cap like that. It's not like crypto where it rips like that in an hour or two. Man, you're talking like dinosaur slow on this one.
All right, free money. And then here, look, you would have got out of ExxonMobil. You would have stayed out of trouble, right? You stay out of trouble until it gets to an extreme, and then here's your reversal area to pay attention to. So anyway, I want to show that to you. This is what we do. This is why you guys should trade with us. We're not out of shooting from the hip. It's not guru based. Everything we do is math based, Dave. Math based. So
Cradle2030.com, and hopefully that gave you a little glimpse into the future. Again, are we looking at the infinity play?
Yeah, in the infinity trade that Dave's referring to is if you look at MicroStrategy, and look, I'm not a big MicroStrategy apologist, but what he's doing is very unique. So he's basically swapping out and creating debt and dilution on a currency that's failing, and he's buying a currency that's rising. No different than what the Japanese did for decades with their yen carry trade. So MicroStrategy is creating what's called the Bitcoin carry trade. I'm going to cough. He's creating the Bitcoin carry trade. And so his view is that Bitcoin is a reflection of the failure of fiat. And so I'm going to continually transfer out a failing asset for a stronger asset, and it's going to make my company increasingly more valuable over time. That's his theory. And if you buy into that mode, then over time you can't help but to make a lot of money, or in this case, protect your standard of living when everybody else is going to struggle. So that's the infinity strategy. He's been pretty right on it. So we'll just have to continue to watch that, and as long as Bitcoin doesn't get unusually disrupted for something we can't foresee, then I think it's going to become an increasing store of value for the wealthy, and that's going to raise the price of it continuously. Like, as he says, New York real estate, works of art that are rare, they tend to maintain and increase value over time. But come trade with us. But that's the best pricing out there. But if you happen just to go to our site, we monitor where new sales come from, and let people know that you came from DAP 2030. If you don't go through his landing page, so that I could give him proper credit. I support his channel this way, and I want to make sure that it's a win-win-win for all three of us. But with that, Dave, Merry Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, Happy Bitcoin, and thanks for allowing me to pitch my services on 2024.
Incredible journey as we look around the corner. And again, when will the world price things in Satoshis? That will be the next move when we start to get Satoshi pricing for anything that we buy or consume. That'll be an interesting day because everything from that point forward will pyramid off that, and that will be your new value chain. So until next year, we'll see you then. Bob, see you next year.
See you, Dave. Thank you.
Bye for now.